Hello everyone and welcome to this lap versus lap comparison from the GTP WRS week 119 time trial on the GTPlanet, which basically I'm going to look at the winner, which was GTP Eclipse, who is one of the fastest people I know. He is insane. He's always up there on the time trials, very good driver, and obviously I came third. I was 2 tenths off his lap time in this, and the good thing about the time trial GTP WRS is you don't know what other people are doing in the corners to get their speed and get their times, so you can really focus on the individual parts of your own lap, look at how you can improve as a driver, and then at the end you can have a look at other replays and see what other people are doing. So that's what we're going to do with this, but first let's have a look at what they did. So we'll look at Eclipse's lap first. I'll shut up while all this goes on so that you can watch it. So there we go, both laps done. So we're going to look at this in individual sectors. So we'll start off with sector 1. Both laps are going to be on, so we'll just look at this straight away. I'll just pause it here. You can see Eclipse's got a slight bit more speed, so if this does rewind slightly, I do apologise, but you can see he's got 1 mile an hour different speed, which means he's had a better last corner to start the lap, which is always useful. You know, you get half a tenth just from doing that coming to his first corner. So I'm going to pause it at certain sections just to show you that, but you can see there the difference in speed. And now we're going to look at how we do this first section. This is a very aggressive section, but you can do it in several ways. So you can see Eclipse is already lifted off. I've gone in far more aggressive, but because of that I'm more in the centre of the track. Eclipse is to the right, so I'm going to have to brake harder to make the turn. And as you can see there, I've dropped to 71 miles an hour. Eclipse has stayed at 76, gone up to 77, 78. This is where we're accelerating. We then catch up each other on speed, so we'll look at this lamppost. I can still see the top of the lamppost. Eclipse can't, so obviously he's ahead there by half a tenth or something like that. And he's also got the extra mile an hour. Obviously, because I went in more aggressive, I had the sharper turn, and that cost me. But I caught it up on the exit slightly, just because I was more aggressive with the slide. So we're going into this first part. I've gone down to third gear, he stayed in fourth, but I've maintained a higher speed through the corner. So I've obviously gained some time back here. And then if we look at this on the exits, I'll just pause it there. I'm about half a tenth off. It's not massive. The sector is very aggressive. It's very flowing as well. Not a lot of braking. Obviously that previous corner and the speed initially at the start was where I lost time in this first sector. But it's stuff like that that we can look at and, you know, see where we went wrong. And I think it was in the end about a tenth. So as we go into sector 2, I'm going to put the cameras identical place again so we can look at the difference in sector 2. I'll just pause it there. As you can see, same times again. The actual times are now slightly different from the difference of the first sector, but the same section. And as you can see again, Eclipsey is a mile an hour ahead, so he had a better exit, straighter exit, meaning he's gaining that tiny bit more on speed and therefore gaining that tiny bit more lap time. So we're going to come into this long right-hander and we're going to see how we both take it essentially. So I'm going in really deep and I'm braking hard and I've come really off. Eclipsey is just doing a constant trail braking, which is actually much better technique than what I'm doing. He's also stayed much tighter on the inside. Now if we look at the speeds, we'll just pause it here. Exactly the same at the moment. I'm going to have a better exit due to the fact that I've got a straighter angle where Eclipsey was tighter. Looking at this, so we'll just watch what happens. Eclipsey did play with the throttle there slightly, and on the exits, as you can see, I've got more speed now because I had a better angle. And as we hit the tunnel, I'm end of the curb in there, 84, 85, I'm a mile an hour ahead. So obviously I'm gaining that time back just from the way the angle was. So Eclipsey could have gained a tiny bit more time there if he'd just let it run out a bit more and then come in, but obviously to get that perfect lap is ridiculously hard, and obviously you can always improve on a lap. So we're going to continue now. We're going to accelerate to this right-hander. Essentially I'm still ahead on speed here just, and then I'm going to go into this corner. Eclipsey stayed out a tiny bit longer looking at that on the bottom right. I've gone in really tight. This, yep, it has affected my exit. I had to let off. Eclipsey has stayed full throttle, and look at the speed difference now. He got up to 109 mile an hour. I was 107. So I'm braking hard. I'm turning in. Eclipsey's turned in a bit earlier. He's managed to hit the apex. I've missed it. So that's time lost there. I've missed the apex. That's going to cost me a tenth. And as we look at the top of the curbing, I'll pause it at the top of the curbing. There. It does look like, yeah, Eclipsey's a bit further ahead on the road. So there we've lost time. He's also in a different gear. So you can see he's further up the road. He's prepared for the corner. And we're going to come into the last corner now. So let's have a look. We'll just pause it on the curbing. So there you can see Eclipsey's already at the curbing. I've still got a bit of grass there. Shows the time lost. So we're going to come into the braking phase now. Eclipsey is trail braking, I'm trail braking. We're both looking for that perfect angle. You did have to slide it a bit here. And I've gone on the throttle really early here. Look at that, I'm at near full throttle. So is Eclipsey now, but if we just pause it initially here, Eclipsey has managed to get a much better exit, cleaner exit, even though I was on the throttle earlier. Obviously I had a bit more of a slide on, so the power to the wheels wasn't getting the speed I wanted, it was just spinning the wheels up. So Eclipsey's got a better exit, and then as we approach the end of sector 2, we should see that Eclipsey is ahead. And we can see that there, he's past the green bit, now I've passed the green bit. Eclipsey got the faster time in sector 2, I think it was a 30.9, absolutely insane sector 2 time, that, absolutely incredible. And remember, he could have gained a bit more time as well on the long right-hander if it had just gone a bit more out to come in again. But even so, after that perfect lap, you're always looking for that. So coming in sector 3 now, we'll just reset them together again. So coming up to the curbing, it looks like Eclipsey is slightly ahead due to the speed. Remember, he got a better exit, so he's got more speed. He's on 99 miles an hour, 5th gear, 98 and 4th gear myself. So as we approach this corner, he's broken and let off the accelerator much earlier. He's getting a tighter turn in. I've missed the apex slightly, so I could have got a better turn there. It will give me a better angle for the second part of the section, but I have lost time, as we will see here. We'll just pause it there. As you can see, Eclipsey is approaching the centre of the curbing. I'm only just touching the curbing, so I've lost half a tenth there. So we're going to go through these corners now. Eclipsey is hit 90 miles an hour. I've hit 88, so I've still not caught him up. I've kept on the throttle though there, so I've kept more speed. If you look at that now, pause it there. I'm on 77, he's on 75. What I found as well, I'll just mention this, is that in this section, rather than letting go and then going back on, I found that I could be a bit more aggressive. I could accelerate a bit longer, just get that dab a little brake, so that I could turn into this last part of this section. It gave me that tiny bit more time because obviously I'm doing something rather than nothing, which is why you can see a slight speed difference of 77 versus 75. So we're going to continue through this. As you can see, we're equal now coming over those last curbs. Still very aggressive. I was a bit too aggressive on that corner, but Eclipse did the sort of thing I did as well. Obviously you want to finish this lap, and then we're coming into this corner. We're doing similar techniques now. Both hit 74 miles an hour going on to the apex. I missed it slightly, but it's not too bad because obviously it's a wide track, this part, and we're going to accelerate to the last corner. Let's see what happens. I'm doing 84, he's doing 83. So we're coming into the last corner, both doing the exact same similar braking technique, both coming off. Eclipse broke a bit longer there. I've gone on the power a bit early, Eclipse has as well. And as we accelerate out, we'll see where we are in comparison. We can't really tell that. We've got a similar speed. So we're going to pause it at the end of the curbing just to have a look where we are time wise. It's pretty much identical. I'm slightly ahead on speed, so I know the last sector time, but what happens here is, you'll notice this, is Eclipse changes there. Look, he changed to 5th gear about a second earlier, and I believe I lost time there because I changed a bit too late. I was being far too aggressive with the gear changes, a bit late on the gear change, and that's why at the start of the lap, if you remember, Eclipse had an extra mile an hour, and as you can see here at the end of the lap, he's got an extra mile an hour. And the funny thing about this last sector is me and Eclipse had the exact same sector free time, including to the 1000th. Which was quite incredible. I was pleased, but obviously there, as you saw, I was ahead at parts, Eclipse was ahead at parts, and then we crossed the line at the same time. So obviously if you put all that lap together, you could be talking 16.2. Who knows? Obviously that perfect lap is extremely hard to get, and especially in these cars. Another thing to note as well, Eclipse did have a slightly different setup to me. Eclipse posted his setup. I sort of came to his time trial at last minute, saw Eclipse's setup, and also saw, I believe, Dr. Watson's setup as well. Apologies if it was somebody else's, but they had a different toe angle, and I preferred that toe angle. It gave more aggression to the car, allowed a bit more sliding. So that was a quick lap versus lap analysis. As you can see there, similar techniques of braking and accelerating, but also similar techniques on the corners. And remember, we can't see each other's ghosts. This is purely what I understand of the car on the track, then Eclipse's understanding of the car on track, and I know Twitty's lap was similar as well. It's sort of learning that, and obviously then you're competing with split times, because you can see the first 2 sectors that people do, you just can't see the last sector. So I finished in 3rd on a 16.609, Eclipse got a 16.412 and won the event. That's a lap versus lap comparison of week 119 on the GTP WRS time trial. Thank you very much.